Greetings, everyone, and welcome to The Reckoning. My name is Johnnie Kornegay, and thank you so much for joining us. The Reckoning is a program of CNP, also known as the Counter Narrative Project. Be sure to follow CNP on social media at CNP Tribe and join our mailing list on our website at thecounternarrative.org. In sad news, former NBA player Jason Collins has passed away at 47 from glioblastoma, an aggressive form of brain cancer. Collins played in the NBA for 13 seasons before retiring in 2014. In 2013, Collins became the first openly gay player in any of the four major American men's sports leagues. Joining me to reflect on the life of Jason Collins is CNP founder and executive director Charles Stevens and Joseph Williams. Williams is a journalist, political analyst, and essayist who has covered race, health, and sports for CNP's The Reckoning. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining today. How you doing?
All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Joe, I want to start with you. Before we talk about the weight of Jason Collins' coming out, can you reflect a bit on the legacy of Jason Collins as a player? Like, what is that story?
Yeah, he was a standout player at Stanford University in the early 2000s. Was all-star. His team went to the NCAA tournament. Was widely projected as a future NBA star. Was selected 13th overall in the draft. Went to the New York Nets, and who's traded his rights away. And he ended up playing for maybe half a dozen teams before he retired. But in 2013, he started coming out. He wrote an essay in Sports Illustrated, coming out as a gay player. To that point, his career had been relatively modest. He had averaged maybe 8-9 points a game, maybe 10-15 minutes a game, 8 or 9 rebounds. Was known more as a defensive player than an offensive star, and more of a role player than somebody who the team counted on to lead them to victory. But nonetheless, he was hailed, and he will always be remembered for taking that amazing step to come out in a league that's been known for homophobic behavior, homophobic remarks, and a locker room culture that's been really hard to crack for anybody who doesn't come from the hyper macho world of sports.
To that point, Joe, I want to read kind of the opening essay. So Jason came out via an essay in Sports Illustrated in 2013. We will make sure that we include a link to that essay in the description. But he began the essay with, "I'm a 34-year-old NBA center. I'm Black and I'm gay." At that point, no other active player in the league had come out before. So Joe and Charles, I want to invite you both, if you'd like, to reflect on the weight of that statement alone. Joe, can you start there? Like, what was the conversation at that time when this essay kind of hit?
There really wasn't much of one, particularly as it pertains to gay athletes. It would be another 4 or 5 years before the NFL had its first openly gay player. To date, no player has come out in Major League Baseball, or no real player has come out in Major League Hockey. There have been some fictional players who have come out. I mean, we talked a little bit earlier about the success of the Heated Rivalry TV series, but at the time there was very little conversation about gay athletes, and no one had dared make the step that he did. That's why it resonated so quickly. But the other thing that was noteworthy was Jason Collins came out while he was still in the league, but was not a superstar. And people said that kind of took some of the weight off of his announcement, but others would argue that it only added weight because he was doing so in a culture that was hyper masculine, hyper macho, always has been, and so far has always will be. We might note that even though Collins came out 2013, almost 15 years ago, there has still been no active player who's come out in the NBA, and there are no indications that there ever will be, at least not to this point. And that's despite the fact that the league tries to promote itself as an NBA, as a rather LGBTQ friendly organization. They have Pride nights, they have celebrations during Pride Month, but no active player has come out, mainly because people think that there's too much at stake.
So that idea, Joe, I want to stay here for a second. That idea of the too much at stake. And you also have talked about this even in this conversation about, locker room culture, et cetera. Expound a bit. And because the question, people still may be watching this conversation and saying, well, wait a minute, this happened in 2013. Why is this still not happening? And they still might get stuck. Help these folks understand why this is often not possible.
Right. Well, I grew up in sports. I played sports in high school and college. And the one thing that hasn't changed between league sports and playing in the NCAA is the fact that there is this macho culture around locker rooms. You don't want to appear weak. You don't want to show any kind of feminine qualities or hyper feminine qualities. You want to fit in and be a good teammate. And in order to do that, you kind of have to follow a certain regimen of unspoken rules. You can't do this. You can't do that. But at the same time, there's this dichotomy in a locker room where there's a lot of what people might call homoeroticism. There's play with gender. There's play with sexuality. There's jokes being made about a teammate's body. There's conversations about women and about pretend homosexual encounters with another teammate. It's very, very interesting and very strange. And to somebody who's not a part of the culture, it seems completely anathemic to having somebody being afraid to come out. But one of the things that I've often said is that hypermasculinity and homoeroticism live side by side in a locker room. But there are certain rules and certain boundaries you can't cross. You can joke about being gay, but you can't actually be gay. Otherwise, people suspect. Otherwise, people will not pass you the ball. You'll be not trusted as a competitor. Now, that doesn't mean that things aren't evolving, but they haven't evolved to the degree where a young man coming into a locker room might feel comfortable or might feel like he wouldn't be ostracized or even bullied for being who he is.
One of the things that has been important about Jason Collins is he has spent time in his retirement kind of in the public eye, being very visible within the NBA. Can you talk about some of Jason Collins' post NBA career activities? Because he hasn't been invisible. He's still been around the NBA. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the NBA, after he retired, and I might note that even before he retired, he looked at his coming out story as a form of activism, as a way to kind of break those stereotypes and break through and allow a path or forge a path for a young gay athlete to follow in his footsteps. But it never quite happened, mainly because he wasn't a superstar player, but he made his mark by wearing number 98 on his jerseys late in his career. That refers to the year that Matthew Shepard was killed in Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken. So he tried to get his activism going before he left the court. After the court, the NBA hired him as a consultant, as somebody who would go around to the league as an ambassador, talking about LGBTQ issues and trying to make the league see ways that it can make itself more friendly and more viable, not just to fans who might enjoy the game, but also might be a little leery about the fact that the NBA has not completely embraced that culture. But he tried to do his part. He's leaving a legacy of that work being done in the past.
Excellent.
Joe, what do you feel is most important for sports writers to take from the legacy of Jason Collins?
I mean, there's a couple things. I mean, while he was never a superstar, he was very active. He was a leader. He was educated at Stanford University, one of the most elite colleges in the country. He was a star athlete. No one can take that away from him. Even getting to the NBA was an accomplishment, whether or not he was the lead player of leading a team to victory or to the championship. But he also exhibited a tremendous amount of courage. I mean, again, I've been in locker rooms. I know how hard it can be to be different. And to make a statement like this, to state openly that he is gay in front of teammates where you've had issues with guns in locker rooms, you've had fights, you've had drugs, all of these things, and the NBA has worked very hard to clean them up. But the one area that they've really been challenged is to try to break through for athletes who are same-sex attracted and not make it seem like they're an oddity or an outcast or an outlier. He's done a lot of that work, and I think people need to recognize that while he wasn't a superstar, he very much did his part to change not just NBA culture, but to change the world and to provide something that a young gay athlete who might feel uncomfortable or unsure of himself can look up to. We hate to use the word role model, it's kind of cliche, but certainly in this case, his role model was heft. His role model had weight, it had importance, and it spoke to a changing time, and it helped. We never know who that kid that might have looked up to him and ends up being a star either on his high school team or his college team, or dare I say it, maybe even make it to the pros. We don't know what kind of impact he might have had on that young man. And if he had the impact on one young man alone, he lived an exemplary life.
Before we went live, we were talking about, Jason Collins' legacy broadly. And one of the things I said was that, certainly I appreciate the embrace of the LGBTQ community with regard to Jason's legacy, but I also think it's important for Jason Collins to belong to Black men and to belong and to feel and for Black men to embrace Jason Collins' legacy too across sexual identity. Joe, could you speak to what it would take for the legacy of Jason Collins to also resonate with Black men broadly across lines of sexual identity?
Well, I think it on its face, it should. I mean, there's no reason in the world why he should not be held and embraced by Black men, because Black men are a diaspora. We're not just one thing. We're not just hypermasculine. We're not just, athletes. He embodied both ideals. He was a scholar of sorts. He also was a championship athlete, if not in the NBA, then certainly in college. And he was someone who all men should look up to, mainly because he looked out for the least of us. He tried to forge and protect people who felt like they did not have that level of protection. He tried to exemplify something that someone behind him could embrace. And he tried to leave the world, not just the league, but he tried to leave the world better than when it was when he came in. So I think on that score alone, I mean, even if you set aside what he did for LGBTQ rights in a major sports league that has millions of fans around the world, if you even set that aside, I can imagine people embracing him for leaving the world a better place than when he came in it, and being an ideal that any Black man could aspire to. I mean, It's not easy to get into Stanford. It's not easy to be a champion in the NCAA. It's not easy to get into the NBA as a backup player. So I think on that score alone, he should be embraced by men writ large and by Black men in particular.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joseph Williams, Charles Stevens, thank you both so much. And thank all of you for tuning in to this episode here on The Reckoning. This was an opportunity for us to spend some time celebrating the incredible and diverse legacy of NBA player Jason Collins. And let us know your thoughts. What are your thoughts about Jason Collins' legacy? Let us know in the comments. We appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for tuning into The Reckoning, and we will see you soon.